What's good? It's your boy KC, the producer. You know you rocking with Nolazine, the hottest in the city. You know I had to do this interview. I've been waiting for you. I don't know what's going on, bro. I don't know why I ain't get no interview yet. I'm looking at a couple 4 Grammy nominations. Still ain't no interview. Come on, bro.
So, tell the world, I'm like, where you from?
I'm from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, so like, when you first started doing your thing, like, did you start in like Kansas?
Yeah, I started producing in Kansas, bro. Kansas City, not Kansas. There we go
Yeah,
with
I
that
see that
Kansas.
right.
You gotta say Kansas City, Missouri. It's a
Yeah.
difference between
Of
Kansas.
school me.
Yeah, so it's a difference between Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri. You got Kansas City, Kansas. You got KCMO. It's a difference. It's a small line, but it's a difference between us. So I'm from the Missouri side. But yeah, I started producing when I was around 14. I tried to be a rapper at first, but that rapper life didn't work out for me. I was no good, bro. I wasn't good. So my
It was
partner,
somebody told you?
yeah,
that you
yeah,
was
yeah,
trash?
yeah. The girl I was talking to at the time, she told me, she was like, "Yeah, you trash." So
And she let like one girl like change your whole career?
I could, you know, when you're not good. You know when your partner's listening back and they skipping over your part. You know you're not good, bro.
Well, they got rappers that was, not good at the time and they got better. We just gave up that quick. I'm like,
I gave
ain't
up
doing
quick. it wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts. But I fell in love with producing though. So I was like, yo, I'm actually good at this. And I didn't know anything about music. I wasn't in no band, no choir, nothing like that. And I just decided to start production. And I was pretty good at it for a guy who knows nothing about anything about production.
Right. I about to ask you, did you take like music class?
Not at all.
Did you
See,
join-
band, it's a difference though, cause band is not really a big thing in Kansas City like it is down here. Like you have bands and stuff when you're growing up, but like when you're in high school, it's not like really big. You either playing football or, you know what I'm saying. You in your studies. You ain't really doing band.
Gotcha. So, growing up for yourself, like who influenced you to actually become a music artist?
Oh, man, well, production Ti influenced me rapper wise, but production wise it was Timberland. Timberland had these crazy beats that just was very unorthodox. So I'm like, yo, if he can put a baby crying in the beat, that mean I can, you know what I'm saying? I can figure this out. I didn't understand the musicality of it. When I listen back to it now, I'm like, yo, he was very musical, but he just was very innovative at the same time. And that made me want to do it more. Like, okay, I know I can be unorthodox and do what I want to, add my swing to it, and make production and see if people vibing with it, you know?
Gotcha. So, how did you make it all the way from Kansas City up to New Orleans?
Man. So I went to school in Alabama State, in Montgomery, Alabama. Very country town. Jesus. But it was good. It had its ups and downs, man. So for me, my journey started there. And I met a producer, a guy named K.O. Cates, who was head of Grand Hustle Production at the time. And I just shot my shot. Like, I figured out, like, okay, this guy's the guy in the town. Let me shoot my shot with him and see what's up. So he took a listen to my beats and was like, yo, I work with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talented. I'm going to show you the ropes. So he used to take me to Grand Hustle Studio every week. I'd be in school, but he'd be like, yo, come to Atlanta. We about to go to Atlanta. Go to the studio. You know what I'm saying? So I was running around seeing T.I., Young Dro, Lil C, all these people, and seeing exactly how this process works in the music industry. And during that time, it was another producer that was there. I met him. It's a guy named Diesel, Darius Harrison. He's the one who really put me on to, like, he's the one who got me in New Orleans. I was actually playing him a beat, and I had snipped and took his drums out of one of his beats, and I played it for him, and he was like, oh, this is crazy. And, he went through and listened to my catalog of beats, and he asked me, we got tight, you know what I'm saying? We got real cool. He asked me, he was like, man, I want you to be a part of Drum Engine Music, but it's going to be based in New Orleans. So I was like, all right. It was my junior year in college, and I was like, yo, I found something I want to do. And it was that. So I dropped out of school, moved to New Orleans.
You been here ever since? So like, moving to New Orleans, being a producer from the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like was it one I'm like culture shock because being a producer as well down here, but like a lot of producers like used to like making on like bounce beats, or they was trying to like kind of stick to the same like patterns as Manny Fresh, or beats by the pound.
Right. So when I first came down here, I got introduced to bounce like right off the back. The first session Diesel did was with Magnolia Shorty, and I had no clue what was going on. I'm listening to this new genre of music to me, and I'm like, man, what is this? You know what I'm saying? She talking crazy and reckless on it. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand it at the time, but the more I got down, the more I sat down and I indulged myself in this culture, I start to realize like, okay, this is something. And I'll start to realize like, yo, chopper style, it has elements of bounce. Was that back it up? Back that ass up, Juvenile. It has the elements of bounce, and I don't know, just a lot of production I was hearing that Manny Fresh was doing. He added certain elements of bounce to it, so I was like, okay, yeah, I see where this is coming from, and it was good. Like, that was crazy to me because I didn't understand the significance of her presence at the time because I didn't understand it. Like, I didn't know who she was or anything, and I didn't know what she meant to New Orleans, and it was an honor being in there with a legend like that and really not knowing. But she was cool. She embraced me. It was all love, so I was real good. And that's my like whole encounter with New Orleans. Like, as soon as I came to New Orleans and doing the music scene, everybody in the music culture embraced me like I was a native. And I wasn't used to that. Coming from the city I'm coming from, it was a little different. It's a little rougher. Not saying like I can't say Kansas City is worse than New Orleans or New Orleans is worse than Kansas City.
I know what you're saying because I traveled a lot more. And like,
yeah.
Basically, New Orleans is like very unique from other cities. Like,
right.
We have our reputation, but we also have Southern hospitality.
Right.
Like when you go to Detroit or somewhere, like you speak to somebody, like friendly, like nobody speaking. Like in other cities, people don't do that.
Nah, not at all.
So like, and I also tell people, but I don't believe it's fully Southern hospitality. I think it's just New Orleans. Yeah. Like even if you in like certain places like in Alabama, Atlanta, everybody don't speak to you.
Right.
I think it's really New Orleans, but like New Orleans is crazy city because like a person could be nice to you but plotting on you at the same time.
The whole time.
So like you could take it as a person being nice to you, but they really probably not being nice to you.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I learned like being down here. Because I was like, yo, I was in the club, somebody bumped me, they said excuse me, and like I was just fucking flabbergasted. Like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't never seen nothing like that. And the whole thing is like, oh, that guy could be nice to you, but he probably had about 3 bodies by yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just never know. And I had to learn that about New Orleans people. Yeah, they're going to be nice. They're going to be polite. But same time, they could be plotting. Or they could just did something like, yeah, it's a different type of culture.
So, moving to New Orleans and like experiencing that bounce culture like very early. Like, did you actually think that New Orleans bounce would actually be what it is of like today?
I couldn't say back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like but if you watch the periods of time, every region has its time. Like Memphis had its time, Detroit's having its time, LA had their time, Atlanta has their time. So sooner or later, New Orleans bounce will want to have their time. And you could tell now like how much of New Orleans influenced a lot of music. Like if it's, the bounce that's putting in there or Big Frida or, you know what I'm saying, just different things or the lingo or, they come down here to New Orleans, they get a lot of sauce. You know what I'm saying? So that's some things like I paid attention to and watched. And again, like I know everybody's going to have his time. I'm just waiting for that one record to just take off. That's, you know what I'm saying, just strictly that bounce. I don't know if it will happen, but pretty sure it will.
It's coming soon.
It's coming. Yeah.
Because more and more people are like embracing it, and like more and more people are actually embracing our real artists now.
Right.
So like I see it coming soon.
Yeah.
As far as yourself, like, how did you come up on like with the name? I'm like Casey the producer. It's probably easy, but we're gonna figure out this story.
Man, look, I'm lazy, bro. Like with the names, like I didn't put much into thinking about it. My coach, I played football, so at Alabama State, everybody was called by their city. So coach used to just call me KC. And I just ran with KC the producer. I had a name that was before that was terrible. I'm not even going to say it on camera.
I was about to ask you, I'm like, what was your rap name?
No, you don't want to know. It was terrible. That's probably why I wouldn't have made it, because of the rap name.
Rap name with a blue it.
Huh? Yeah. Terrible, man.
So being a producer now, being in New Orleans, traveling to Atlanta, just maneuvering around the world.
Yeah.
Tell the world, I'm like, what is one average day like for you?
Was what? I'm sorry.
I'm like, what is one average day like for you?
Man, the average day is waking up early, 6 a.m., getting straight to the business, handling all the administrative work, trying to be in the studio by 11, staying there till 11 till at least 10, maybe later, and then just keep on replaying. Like, it's different now. Like, at first, my days was just straight studio, straight grind, production. But after a certain while, you got to figure out how to make it a little bit more about the administrative work instead of just the beats and the creative side. Because the business is what's going to propel you to the next level. You know? Yeah, you're going to be creative, and that's cool, having them beats, but not having the business down, it doesn't do anything for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey, so let's talk about, the Grammys.
Oh, man.
So, like, also, well, actually, let's bring it back to the first year you was actually Grammy nominated. So, like, I want you to kind of, explain who the artist was that you was working with and everything like that.
Okay. So, I'm going to tell you the whole story. I'm going to start from the beginning. So, during 2020, I actually signed a publishing deal with my guy Rodney Jerkins, man. With my brother Rodney Jerkins. And he's the first one, can't say the first one, but he's the one who really gave me an opportunity and a shot. So I signed to like the production deal maybe November. Then we had a camp in December. My guy V Script, Riddell Muller, man, he put it together, and we had, all these great writers and producers come in from all over the place. And we was working on a couple of albums at the time, and one of the albums we was working on was Justin Bieber. And during that time, we probably, I don't know how many records we cooked up for Justin, but it was so many records. And I actually got one placed on them. And the way I got it placed on them, it was a time during the camp where I asked Rodney, I was like, hey, Rodney, I know we just signed this as our, maybe like our 5th time meeting. Let's sit down and have a lunch and just like really chop it up. So me and Rodney sat down, and I asked him, like, I actually told him the reason why I really went with the pub deal with you and signing with you is because you sustained more than 30 years in the industry. How did you do that? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of producers that come and go, but he sustained 30 years working with Beyonce, Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
I want to say something funny before you feel like,
yeah.
I thought Rodney Jerkins and like Dog Child was 2 different people. I told Bernard that I really did thought that was 2 different people. Like,
oh,
I'm
man.
like, dang, cause I saw his name on credits,
right?
But I heard the name Dog Child,
right?
You think of Destiny Child, Dog Child,
right.
So I'm thinking that's 2 different people, but I'm like, oh shit, that's
Dog Child, man, yeah.
But just shout out to him, we gotta holler him.
Man, shout out to Dog Child, man, because that guy right there, he's such an amazing person, and just one of the few that's in the industry that's really gonna embrace you and take you in and actually like show you the ropes to a lot of things. Because a lot of people there get you in there, man, and they're not willing to really put in that extra work or tell you, and they don't have to. He chooses to. So big shout out to him. Big shout out to V Script too, man, for putting the whole thing together. Without him, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be it, man. That guy was a vessel and a great instrument for me to get to where I'm at today. So let's get back to the story about the Grammy. So
yeah.
I get in there and I talk to Rodney, and Rodney tells me, look, this is one of the key things you need to do. You need to make sure you get in with them songwriters, and you sit down and you talk to the songwriters, get to know them, because they're the key to a lot of getting the placements. So they had one of Justin's writers that came to the camp. A guy named All Day. Shout out to Greg All Day. He was down there, and I was, I had a pack ready for him. Everybody sending them packs and whatnot. But before I even sent him the pack, I told him, man, let's go out to eat. Let me get to know you. Let me, see what's going on with you and see what vibes you into. So me and him sat down, went out, and we just chopped it up. We got to know each other. And I was just asking him, like, all right, so what mind frame is Justin in? So he was telling me, like, he's married and, he's in love, like, right now. So I'm just like, okay, that just put something in my head to think, like, make sure anything that I do for him is uplifting. It makes him feel a certain way. So that's what I did. The pack, I think it was the first loop beat that I played for him. He went off of it, wrote to it, and it ended up making just an album. Now, the whole process of that was crazy. It's up and down. But, it ended up making it eventually. And that is one of the records that got nominated for a Grammy. Well, not records, I'm sorry. His album, Justice, got nominated for a Grammy. And that record's included in it. So that's how I got that Grammy nod. And I also worked on Eric Bellinger's album. Shout out to EB, man. That's my guy, Easy. You know what I'm saying? He's one of the most genuine guys I know in the industry, man. First time meeting him, you wouldn't think he had all them platinum plaques the way he's just so cool, man. He's like a brother to me. That guy there is amazing. And one of the records we did at the camp ended up making it to his album, and that's how, I ended up on his album. And his album got nominated as well, so I got nominated for that. And I also worked on a children's book that was in New Orleans. It was a New Orleans-based writer, Alexis Jones, and her sister. They wrote a children's book, and I did the audio for it. And I was nominated for a Grammy as well. So that's how I ended up at the Grammys. Was that 2020 or 2021? I'm sorry. Yeah.
So the cool part is about all those situations is you still in New Orleans, and people don't like so many New Orleans artists and producers feel like they don't have people actually reaching back to us down here. So for you to actually accomplish those things while living in New Orleans, and the good thing is you're not actually from New Orleans, but you choose to still stay there.
Man, New Orleans is my second home.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I got adopted by the 17th or what, but you know what I'm saying? I work with them cats so much. Everybody, bro. Like, everybody embraced me so much. And, I love New Orleans for that. Because I think about it, I started my business down in New Orleans, and everybody came and supported. That's why I have no problem giving back to the community. I have no problem going to speak at Loyola, Dillard, Xavier, anywhere I can to give back, because it means so much for them to embrace me. And I look forward to doing more stuff for New Orleans. And you can make it out of New Orleans, but you do have to travel. You're going to have to take time out to go to different cities, to meet different peoples, to build your network. That network is extremely important. If you don't have that network, you're not going to get your network,
Gotcha. So, being in the music industry for a while now, tell us what do you enjoy most about it, and tell us what do you actually, dislike about it.
I enjoy the creative process. I enjoy the business too, but it's always like this period where you go through where you have mental blocks or production blocks, or I don't even know what it's called. It's like writer's block, but it'd be, for production and mixing and all kind of things, and just figuring out that wave and figuring out how to get past that. That's what I don't like, but it's something you got to work through. But I enjoy the creative process. I enjoy collabing with people. That's one of the most important things you can do in the industry is collab. Because you just don't feed off your energy. You feed off everybody else's energy. And that's how you get a lot of placements done too. Because everybody has different networks that they're working with that you can work with as well. So if my boy Nave, for example, if he's working with Tech Nine and I got some beats, boom, he go shoot him the Tech. I'm working with Eric Bellinger. Boom, he got Chris Brown coming up. I'm working with all day. You know, he got the Justin. I'm working with Rodney. Rodney got SZA. Got, you know what I'm saying? So collaborative is definitely the most important thing, but you know, that's what I enjoy most doing because you can feed off of all this energy, you know?
Gotcha. So tell us what separates you from like every producer out there in the world.
I'm be honest, it's not even just making beats. It's my presence in the room. When I walk in the room, they can feel the energy. I'm different, you know? It's more than just being able to make a beat because that's not going to sell a record. Like, you got to have the complete package for it. In order to do that, you got to make everybody in this room feel this vibe. You got to make everybody in this room feel this energy. And that's what I'm great at. And I noticed that. And I took heed to that. Anybody that comes through there, they feel comfortable with me, you know? And not a lot of producers can give that energy. A lot of them are just beat makers and not really producers. So being able to channel that energy and give it off, yeah, that's probably my gift.
Gotcha. So, do you plan on starting your own music production or anything like that? Like actually putting other producers under you?
Yeah, eventually, yeah, I definitely want to do that, and I'm, you know, Slick Slide doing that right now. It got so many talented producers, especially young producers out here, that's out here really just making beats, and I want to show them the ropes of production and show them how to actually get in the room. And like once you get in that room, it's a different thing. You got to make a beat on the spot or anything like that. That's different. That's a tons of pressure on you, and I definitely want to make sure I give back and show other young producers how to do that because it's different, you know. I know we're in the age of emailing beats and, you know what I'm saying, seeing beat packs and stuff like that, but once you get in the room with somebody, it's different. And I want to train not even train, but teach all the producers I'm with and to understand what that is and understand how to catch that energy. So yeah, most definitely I want to do that. Yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to doing. That's the reason why I really came back to New Orleans is like this great building that we in, Elation, man. My guy David Adams created this building, and you know he had a vision, and he asked me to be a part of his vision, and I never seen anything like this down here.
Yeah. I was just texting him like this building got to be over, like everything in it probably over $1 million.
Yeah, so nothing like this in New Orleans, and be able to build a team down here and show other producers now, like, you know, because people like shiny things. Like, if you bring them to this building, you know, their eyes is wide. You know what I'm saying? Now they're going to listen a little bit more, and they'll take heed to things that you're saying. So now that we can bring other producers and other artists and other camera people and just content creators to this one spot, we can build a network in New Orleans that's able to reach out to this industry a lot better than what we had, because everything else, it was spread out. Like, everybody's spread out. There's nothing that's had something that cohesive, something that's just one place, and that's what we want to bring here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, like, has there ever been, any point, in your career, we just want to give up?
To give up, no, but it's been doubts in my career. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a period of time where you go through and you're like, damn, man, like, I ain't getting no placements. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, is the music not it? You know what I'm saying? So you start to doubt yourself, but you got to remember, you know, you're here for a reason. And God gave you this gift. And with this gift, it comes power and responsibility. With this gift comes trials and tribulations. So you got to wave all that at the same time. Nothing's easy. Nothing's ever going to be easy. You know, the hardest mountain to climb is going to have the greatest result, though. You know what I'm saying? When you get to the top of that, you're going to see.
Gotcha. So, my question, like, I want you to give some game, something teachable, you know, so we can use for content.
Yeah.
So, I want you to explain what's supposed to go on to, like, you know, and for the producers out there who don't really know how to actually conduct a business after one studio session. So, like, actually, what needs to be done after one studio session? Like, do y'all have to do, like, you know, split sheets? I want you to explain, like, and like something brief right quick of like actually what needs to be done. I'm like in one studio session for like the business side.
Okay, so it just depends, and you really got to check the temperature of the room and see what's going on. So let's say I'm out of town and I'm working, and I'm at like a Sony camp, and Sony has a camp, and they bringing in a bunch of producers, a bunch of writers, and they're working. Um, After each session that you're in, with the amount of people that's in the room and the amount of people that's in the building that's involved in this camp, you want to make sure after each one of them sessions that you have the splits for each one of the records that you do. Because if you don't, everything can get lost in translation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'll go around and not be aware of what record you're a part of. So that's very important. But I suggest that like during camps and stuff. Doing a regular studio session, if you're just booking a studio session, yeah, you can do split sheets. But you know who's in the room. You know what's going on. For the most part, you know. But even better, like I guess you could dig deeper. Let's say like you get a placement, right, for a producer. Let's say young Ty gets a placement. I'm just making up a producer name. He got to make sure that he has a sound exchange done. He needs to make sure that he has his BMI or ASCAP or CSAC done. He needs to make sure that he has a lawyer to properly read over the contract that he has. He needs to make sure that the contract that does come in is not a work for hire, that it is a production agreement or producer deck. He needs to stand firm on what he believes that he needs as far as the royalty rights. It's a lot of different things, but just knowing that you're on top of your business and, you know what I'm saying, just making sure that you got all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted is important for this being a producer. Damn, I felt like I was just rambling.
It's good, man.
No, bro.
So this is my next question for you. Like, I'm like, what's your advice to a young producer that's watching this interview that's thinking about, following behind you?
My advice is stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay on top of your work. Don't ever take the days off. Like, you know, just continue to work. Even when you're not feeling it, like, continue to work. Understand that it's more than music as well. And understand that the work that you're doing is not just the creative in the studio. It's also outside of the studio. Building your network. Dealing with different writers. Dealing with different producers. Get tight with them writers. See who's working on what projects. Get yourself involved in different writing camps. You know, just figure out different things like that. Just don't be a studio rat, because being a studio rat, yeah, it's cool understanding it, like maturing your craft and, you know what I'm saying, getting your stuff together. But once you get that part, you need to make sure you're outside of the studio as well, because that's one of the most important things to do.
Right. So, you know, but I'm pretty sure meet a lot of independent artists as well. So, like, I want to hear, like, on camera, what's your advice to them after they leave, you know, but the studio? Because, like, most artists feel like they just come and do a song with the producer, shoot a video, and, like, the work is done. Like, no one believes in, like, real marketing, like, ground marketing or, like, social media marketing or things like that. Like, they feel like they could drop a video on their page. So, I want to hear, what's your advice to them?
Man, look, spend more money on marketing. Understand that. Create content and market your content. It's cool to have 1,000 songs, but if they're not marketed right and you drop them and nobody gets the views on them, what's the purpose? Like, as an artist, you're trying to make a turnaround. You have to make something make sense, unless you're just doing it for kicks and giggles. And I don't know too many artists that's doing that, that's in the studio just wasting money. Yeah, we do it for the love of it, of course, because we all love this thing, but we also want to make money as well. So you have to take your marketing and your business more, you have to take that more than you pay it. I can't say more than your creation, but you have to take it just as much. But you got to remember, it's 95%. Fuck that. It's 99% business and 1% of the talent. Like, you have to have your business together. Because we see it right now. You know, we see a lot of, I'm not going to name no names, but we see a lot of songs that's like, are they the most talented artists? No. They got their business together, though. You know.
It's about the, you know, if that power, like that machine behind them as well. Like, and like some artists, like, you can actually make it independent if you spend your money.
Yeah, but I'm even saying, like, for that person to get to the person that has the machine, they had something that was in mind. It was something that got them to that machine. You know what I'm saying? To make it work. And whatever that was, that worked for them. And there's no one way to get to it. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to figure that out.
If all promotion is good promotion.
Yeah, all promotion is good promotion. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Man, we got to talk about the... what else you want to talk about?
Whatever you want to talk about. What you want to talk about, man? Because actually, if all my interviews are freestyling around, and it goes on the podcast, so...
Oh, man. Shout out. You know, I got a podcast coming up, too. I need you on my podcast because I'm talking about behind the scenes of the music industry. And I need you definitely on there, bro.
I'll be there.
All right. But yeah, I don't know, man. We can talk about, like, time in Atlanta. Well, messing with Jazze Faye, man. Being an engineer for Jazze.
Shout out Jazze Faye. Man, we trying to get that interview at the end of the month, so we're going to need you to put that call into besides V-Script.
Yeah. Jazze, that's my guy, man. Jazze is my brother, and he's one of the most loyal motherfuckers I know.
So let's talk about Atlanta. Like, you know, like, what is your experience in Atlanta? And, like, how's people, work ethic in Atlanta besides, like, New Orleans as well?
Man, look, Atlanta is, they own their stuff, bro. Like, Atlanta, they understand exactly what need to be done. And they understand the avenues they have to get there. And they're willing to put in the work. I'm not saying New Orleans artists are not, but they know Atlanta's aware of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They're aware of, man, you know, if I do this and do this, I can get to this person and get to that. They're aware of that. And them artists, they understand that. And the people that's putting the money up, they understand that as well. You know, so Atlanta's definitely one of the hubs. I believe if New Orleans had the resources that Atlanta had, well, but like, crazy.
I think Atlanta, personally, my knowledge is going to Atlanta for 20 years. Yeah. Like, being around the music, and didn't even know I was around the music half the time. But Atlanta has a system, and like, them creating their own system within it, like, actually within their city,
right,
brought the record labels and the powerhouses.
Oh, yeah.
Because Atlanta is one of the few cities I know has control of blowing the artists. They could like if Atlanta can make who they want to be next, like from the studio to the strip club, to any club, they know how to get it to everybody. Like, one person can get it to everyone at the same day. Soon as they leave the studio, 20 minutes later, a person get it to everybody in Atlanta.
They had key holders. They had Greg Street. They had Ray Daniels.
They still got.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. They have key holders. Like, you think about, like, Jermaine Dupri didn't leave Atlanta. Jermaine Dupri stayed.
Yeah, but that's what made. And I guess what, this is my theory, and I'm gonna ask you that. Like, my theory is, you know, Master P really never was stationed in New Orleans, but I'm gonna say Cash Money. If Hurricane Katrina never hit, and Cash Money would stay there, and like getting those people like Drake and the other people come here, New Orleans would have record labels on Canal Street.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Because if you got Drake's walking around here, or Kanye West was trying to be a producer for Cash Money around that time as well.
Right.
Like, if you would have had all these people, like actually becoming who they became down here, like, they would have had, you know, Republic Records, one office at least. They probably wouldn't have been their main hub, but they would have had offices here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because there's so much things that go into that. You think about the airports and Atlanta being a hub.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Atlanta's a lot of... It's a
lot of reasons why Atlanta is what it is.
You think about New Orleans, no Fortune 500 companies. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to think about things like that.
I think we had like a few before Katrina. Like all them buildings had, like, you know, big oil companies and different companies in there, but the hurricane hit. And, like, people didn't want really, like, big companies didn't want to invest in them.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing about like we don't have those big companies here to like put in like to actually have that pay these people down here.
Right.
And so the money can't get can't.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a lot of reasons why New Orleans not wealthy as they should, as far as the urban especially.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird why the labels wouldn't be here, but I think like if you said like if Cash Money did stay,
or just say if Master P and Cash Money, like Master P would have never went to Baton Rouge and opened up a hub on Canal Street or whatever, like No Limit at the time of 98, 99.
Right.
When they both was, still running it.
Right.
Like people would have no choice but to come down here.
Yeah.
Because people still come here and reach out to who they want to reach out to.
Boy, New Orleans is loved.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people want to come to New Orleans and a lot of artists want to come to New Orleans. They just didn't have a hub and a station to come to, right. And that's what we're trying to build this for.
And it's kind of like, it's kind of like my brand new mindset. Like during the pandemic, I traveled to like 40 different cities and like met different media companies.
Yeah.
And I realized like nobody knows New Orleans artists.
Ain't that crazy?
Like no one, they don't even know our hottest one at that time. Like around that time, it was Nino Kelvin.
Right.
They didn't know. Like
wow.
Never heard of him. Never heard of music. Like these media companies not looking on Birdman page
right.
to see who was who. Right. So like it kind of gave me a thing like, man, all these artists come down here too, and like they don't stop at no media thing and do interviews or nothing no more. So I'm like, man, you know what? I gotta push this for the South.
Man.
Like, you know what? I have to be that person, and I feel like I'm connected enough before this. I started doing this.
Right.
To like, I got relationships with bigger like people that can really get me those big interviews.
Right.
So I'm like, man, I have to do this. So,
yeah.
So that's the reason why I'm doing this, traveling to Atlanta and Dallas for real. Like, because at first when I started Nolazine, people think that it was just for New Orleans. It gotta be bigger than New Orleans. Like, we have to bring a fan base here.
Right.
Like, if I'm promoting just New Orleans people, you ain't getting no fan base. And they didn't get it. And guess what? I don't expect them to get it because that's what it. If everybody got it, somebody else would have created it.
Right. Right. But you can't expect everybody to like it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? In life, you need the good and the bad. That's the thing about life. You need that positive energy, and sometimes
it's a battery.
It's a battery, bro. You need the negative and positive all the time. So things that you created, what you are creating and still creating, is much needed in New Orleans because things like this become a gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Right. So now that when people come to New Orleans, they know how to connect to the artist. So now they can call you and be like, man, how do I get to YD the Illis? How do I get to Nino Calvin? Oh, how do I get to KC the producer?
Right.
You won't call away. Yeah. You're that person to do that. And I commend you on that, bro. Yeah.
But like, I used to be like I didn't even notice that this was a field to be needed at first.
It's definitely been.
I talk about like this, there's so many people that had media companies.
Right.
But no one really took it to the next level. Like everybody who created a media company really was like, I'm New Orleans. This New Orleans. They focused on New Orleans. But I'm like, man, there's a billion people out there.
Right.
So like, shout out V Script. Like, just seeing him go to Africa. I've been saying in my mind, like, I need to go to London. They got all the R&B artists. I need to go to Africa. But I didn't know where to go in Africa. I'm glad he went to Cape Town. Like, I know they got artists out there. Now I know I'm talking to people in Dominican Republic.
Right.
Imagine the New Orleans platform traveling the world and bringing the world to New Orleans. That's a whole other level.
Man, I just brought bounce music to Spain, Madrid. You know what I'm saying? Like, being able to do that and bring... And the funny thing is, I put Justin Bieber on bounce. He didn't even know it. Being able to travel the world, V-Script, being able to Africa, I'm able to go to Rome and Spain and Europe and just different places and bringing this culture and these ideas that we have to these different platforms is amazing,
And like, that's a positive because like 10 years ago, none of us saw this.
The funny thing is,
like,
I always envisioned this. At 14, I think I had on my door, I had wrote I'm gonna be a millionaire. At 22,
that's a different from like saying I'm gonna be a millionaire to actually know what you're doing.
But check this out. I said I'm gonna work with T.I. I said I'm gonna produce with Timberland. I had all this list on my door, and somehow, some way, the universe heard it. The universe received it, and I was able to be in the room with these people.
Gotcha. Never in a million years I think I'd be doing this. Never in a million years I thought I would have been a promoter first. So, it's just some people, everybody got their different dreams and manifest.
Yeah, right.
But like once I put my mind, I'm going to do this, I just know I was going to outwork everybody.
Yeah.
I know your average person ain't going to go do 10 interviews a day, put the work in, write articles, do everything. You got to want it more than everybody else won't see you with it.
Yeah. Bro.
That's even as a producer. Like, you gotta, like producers who really win, be in the studios till the next day. Sometimes don't leave.
They understand it. They understand what it takes.
Correct.
And then sometimes, like, for the producers, you got to understand when to pull yourself out of that studio and get your network done. Because you just being in that studio.
You got to have family time. If you got kids, you got a girl.
I'm going to tell you this. Ain't no such thing as balance when you're an entrepreneur. I don't care what they say.
All right.
You can say what you want to, but I don't see balance being an entrepreneur because there's so much of what you
don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know at a certain time. Like, last night, my girlfriend was mad at me. Like, man, I need to go buy Boosie. Man, but me, you supposed to be watching movies. I'm like, man, my life just...
It's hard, bro.
Guess what? I chose my girlfriend over Boosie last night.
There you go.
Guess what? It ain't going to happen again. I said the camera.
Sometimes that needed, though. Sometimes you have to do that, bro.
Glad I got a relationship with Boosie already, but I'm just saying...
Yeah.
It's just, I get how you saying it ain't balanced, but, you got to just have a conversation with your partner as well. Like, that's another thing, like, people probably find in this interview, like, a lot of people got real life situations, At the end of the day, you still, on the first, you got real life bills.
Everybody has real life situations. You don't know what person is going through. You might think you're going through the worst thing in the world, but this other producer I know, he's going through something worse. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know.
Right, Max. So, tell us, what's next for you?
What's next? To be honest with you, like, I'm getting into sound design as well. So I'm gonna start sound designing for different video games, different movies, different just different things within the entertainment industry that's outside of just music. I definitely want to get into syncing more, where I can get in and do commercials and sync on different movies and shit. I'm looking for a Marvel contract. What's up, Marvel? Y'all need to go ahead and sign me up. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for. But yeah, like getting into this right here, this Adobe Atmos. Immersive sound design. Like, this is a whole different world. This is a whole different space. And I want to be the person, because this studio right here, what we in is a room that's nobody has in Louisiana. Nobody's able to mimic this room as of right now. This is the only room that's in Louisiana that's able to do this 9x6x2. And we're able to, cater to all streaming platforms as well as box office. And this is what I want to dig deep into. I want to have relationships with Second Line Studio, with Red Studio, where we're getting all that post-production. Movies is what's next, because content is, you see Tubi, you see Hulu, you see, Apple TV. It's so much content that's been pushed out, and they need this.
Hey, but it's the reason I did 500 interviews in like 4 years.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
And I'm about to go harder than that.
Am I 501?
Hey, but you might be 601. I stopped counting after I said 500.
I'm trying to be 504.
I don't even know. I stopped counting after 500. I just been rolling.
Man, let me shout out Jazze though, man. Shout out Jazze Faye. That's my big bro. My time in Atlanta, spending it with him, he introduced me to so much game, man, and just being able to be a part and engineer with him was amazing. Like, I learned so much from that guy,
The crazy part is I'm gonna speak on, like, I never met, but I'm lying, but I met Jazze Faye before.
Yeah.
But the dope part is, if anybody ever watched Jazze Faye career, he always embraced New Orleans. Since he was coming back down here for Cash Money, even the thing he did for Young Greatness, giving him that hit. And
he embraced New Orleans, and it's so funny because he embraced Kansas City as well. He embraced Jay White, Little Ronnie, all these producers.
Shout out Jay White, man.
Yeah, shout out Jay White, big bro. What's good, man? Yeah. What's up, man? What's up with them Chiefs? We're gonna win this year. Come on. Don't talk about them Saints. But yeah, man. Yeah, shout out Jazze, man. That's one of the most genuine people that that's in the industry that took his time out to. When I got to Atlanta, took his time out to show me the ropes and put me in different networks, had me working on Sierra Records, Cardi B records. Just fucking meeting everybody. Keisha Cole, fucking Kamish, everybody. Anybody you could name, he had coming through the studio. I remember Fantasia came through the studio while she was working on Roots. So
everything's possible out there.
Yeah. She said she was going to bring Oprah through one day. So
anything's possible.
Anything's possible, man. And again, you know what the nucleus of all this is? V introduced me to Jazze Faye, man. That's a loyal dude, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like I started with V in like 2007, and that guy been rocking with me the whole time. Yeah, that's my guy right there.
I'm gonna say this. Last but not least, tell the world where can they find you at on social media and everywhere.
Man, you can find me at KC the Producer on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I don't got a TikTok yet, but I'm about to make a TikTok because I'm about to start doing these dances. You can find me on Threads. I'm gonna be on Threads. I'm about to become CNN on Threads. Yeah, you can find me on all platforms, man. You know, look out for me, please.
All promotion is good promotion.
All promotion is good promotion, baby.
All right, we done.
All right, appreciate it, bro.